Last year's edge class had historically elite depth and a blue chip prospect, but this year's class has the potential to be even better. While I also have to mention that we're in the way too early process, I really liked a lot of the names on this list, so let's just dive right into it. Starting off with my number one edge rusher, which may surprise some people, it's going to be Ruben Bain Jr. out of Miami. Bain is my current favorite to be my number one non-QB on my board. At 6'3", 275, he's a freak athlete with an insane combination of speed and raw power. His get-off will be at the top of the league for someone his size the second he steps into the NFL. As a pass rusher, like I said before, he has insane get-off. His raw power is legitimately nuts, and he has an impressive moveset already. He's got cross chops, rip moves, swim moves, and a very nice bull rush. His bend isn't perfect, but it's more than good enough for him to be a top 10 edge rusher at the next level. He needs to improve his pad level and balance because there are plays where he looks dominant and then he just ends up on the ground. He threatened a lot with power into the outside shoulder, so I want to see him develop an inside spin move. Although that's really nitpicky because he did have inside counters. I just think it would make him essentially unblockable. As a pass rusher, he is really elite. To this point, he probably sounded like a top 5 lock because as an athlete and as a pass rusher, he's truly an elite prospect, but his run defense is what's going to take him out of that conversation. He's super undisciplined as a run defender, and his pad level negatively affected him in the run as well. He can make a ton of splash plays because of his elite get-off, but his down-to-down reliability is just not there right now. As a pass rusher, Bain would be a top 10 lock for me if the draft was tomorrow. He's a freaky athlete with a developed bag of pass rush moves. As a run defender, he has a lot of work to do getting off blocks and staying disciplined, and he really has all the potential in the world to be a great run defender. He just has to work on his technique, which he absolutely can, and could make him a blue chip prospect. To be the first non-QB off the board, like I said, he's just going to need to improve his pad level and improve his run D, and then he's an easy lock. My number 2 guy is the consensus number 1 guy, TJ Parker, who did underwhelm me a little bit, but he is super talented, so him being number 2 is more indicative of how good Ruben Bain is than him being bad. As a pass rusher, he's very advanced. His hand fighting is already bordering on elite. He's got a fantastic bull rush, he can bend around the edge, and he's a very advanced technical pass rusher. But what does limit him is that he's not a freak athlete. By no means is he a poor athlete, but he just doesn't have the elite athleticism that Ruben Bain and Abdul Carter have, which make them potential top 5 picks, and in Abdul Carter's case, obviously a top 5 pick in the end. His get-off is lacking compared to some of the other edge rushers in this class. He doesn't look like he has super long arms either. The overall point is that he won't wow you with his athletic traits, but he is a good athlete overall. Just maybe not the type of athlete that you expect to go in the top 5. As a run defender, he's overall solid. He anchors pretty well, and he had a play where he got triple teamed in the run game against NC State and held his ground decently well. He gets off blocks and he is a menace to disrupt backfield production. In none of those ways does he wow you or anything, but he is super solid and will be a 3-down plus run defender at the next level. My next 3 guys are going to be in the same tier, but I have a slight preference for my number 3 edge rusher, which is going to be Tyreek Sapp. Sapp is a former defensive tackle, and you see it a lot in his tape, especially as a run defender, which is where he shines. He is all over the backfield, and you can see his athleticism at work as a run defender, where he's an elite disruptor penetrating into the backfield. He's not just a disruptor, though. He's a disciplined run defender who anchors down and can shed off blocks. He can even align as an interior lineman and hold up against the run. That's going to lead me to his pass rush, though, which at this point is intriguing but underdeveloped. He really is the definition of a jack of all trades, but a master of none as a pass rusher. He has moves, but he's not consistent. He's good with his hands, but sometimes he isn't. He has bend, but sometimes he looks stiff. He's powerful, but he doesn't win with a bull rush consistently. He's a plus athlete, so I do believe that he can improve on that, but of the top 5 guys that I'm going to talk about here, he is the oldest as a redshirt senior this year, so he should be the most developed out of them. He's a combination of a high floor run defender and a high ceiling 3-down player. He might be a tweener because a lot of the pass rush production in the games I watched came from the inside. As I mentioned before, he's a plus athlete, but also a confusing one. His get-off wasn't elite, but he has really good second and third step explosiveness. He might just struggle to time the snap, or maybe he takes an extra step, but he definitely has the athleticism to have elite get-off. Sapp is a real wildcard out of this upcoming tier of wildcards, but he is the player I have the most confidence in right now. Although he is the oldest, which is to his advantage in terms of his talent right now, but maybe a little bit to his disadvantage in some other people's ranking. My number 4 player is LT Overton out of Alabama. Not to be pro-comp happy with this year's class, but just to give an idea of who these players appear like, Overton is the Shamar Stewart of this year's class. He's uber athletic, he's super big and a very good run defender, he just has to figure out what he's doing as a pass rusher. Alabama had a deep pass rush rotation last year, so Overton's role should grow this year. As a pass rusher, he's basically all athlete, which is not the worst place to be. He has great get off, great power, and even a respectable amount of bend for a 285-pound player. Like Sap, he can play all over the defensive line, although he is 10 to 15 pounds heavier, so that tweener role may be more carved out for him. He's a fantastic motor and does not let a play die. He must develop some pass rush moves if he hopes to be a top 10 pick, but with his athleticism, he's in line to be a first-round pick. His athleticism as a pass rusher is great to have, but his run defense is what keeps him in true first-round consideration for me. He anchors really well, he's super disciplined, and he causes a lot of disruption. Given his arm length, he should be better at wrapping up tackles, but that's something he can easily improve on. I'm not sure how I'll feel about Overton next April. I'm sort of hedging my bets by having him 4th on this list. I do know that the NFL will love a ready, out-of-the-box run defender who is a freak athlete. If he can develop some more pass rush moves, he will be a no-doubt first-round pick and a potential first overall candidate. Rounding out the top 5 in this 3-player tier is Keldrick Falk out of Auburn. Falk has the size of a defensive tackle at 6'6", 288 pounds, and he definitely plays like it. He's the best run defender in this class by a good margin. To continue comping players to last year's class, he's the Mykel Williams of this year's class. A player who is a very good run defender, who hasn't put it together as a pass rusher, and is a decent athlete with super long arms. I was lower on Williams than most, and we'll see how that turns out, but I have higher hopes for Falk than Williams. As I said before, Falk is an elite run defender. He has some of the best run defense I've ever seen from a true sophomore. He anchors and sheds with great discipline, but he's not afraid to make splash plays in the backfield. As a pass rusher, he's really lacking a lot. To give him credit though, he does have a fantastic motor, and he's willing to try a spin move and a swim move, even if they just aren't developed yet. With all those moves that he does attempt, he does have the skeleton of a good pass rusher, and that motor may be indicative of someone who has a great work ethic, so I could definitely see Keldrick Falk putting it all together as a pass rusher, but right now he's just not there yet. Like Overton, Falk is the type of guy that the NFL will love. For his size, he's an impressive athlete, a ready out-of-the-box run defender with what appears to be long arms. I don't have measurements, but they definitely look long. I do worry that the NFL has fallen into this trap with countless players in the top 10 and will fall for it again this year with Falk. That's not to say that Falk isn't a good player and even may be worthy of a first-round pick, but he might be the type of guy who's worthy of a late first, early second, and gets drafted in the top 5 or top 10 and never lives up to those expectations, maybe similar to a guy like Trayvon Walker. That group of 3 could be ordered in any way and I'd be on board. They're all similar in that they're great run defenders, good to great athletes, and very raw pass rushers. Sap is the best pass rusher right now by a good margin. Overton's the best athlete, and Falk is the best run defender. Inversely though, Falk is the youngest, followed by Overton and then Sap, so it is a tough balance to think that with an extra year or 2, Falk could look like Sap or Overton, and that's why I feel like they could be ordered in any way. Pass rush is where edge rushers make their money, so that will be the most important to me, and I love seeing elite athletes who could become elite pass rushers. This was supposed to be a top 5 again, but there are 2 more players I just have to talk about. My number 6 edge rusher is the polar opposite of Keldrick Falk in Mikael Kamara. Kamara is an undersized, sawed-off edge rusher who's listed at 6'1", 265, but looks like he's 6'1", 245. Kamara was a joy to watch though, and his size limitations push him down to 6, but as a pure talent, he felt like the 3rd best player that I watched. As a pass rusher, he's nearly flawless. His get-off was fantastic, and he's a fantastic speed rusher with active and super twitched up hands, and every pass rush move at his disposal. He's bendy around the edge and can counter any tackle's first punch. The only problem is his arm length. I seriously think Kamara may measure with under 32-inch arms, which is not someone that you draft in the first 2 days of the draft. Almost every lost rep he had as a pass rusher was due to his frame, and despite that, he really didn't lose all that often. I do worry that tackles at the NFL are quicker, with better hands and longer arms, and I'm not sure if this will translate, but my god, he is so talented as a pass rusher. As a run defender, he's not that good. His lack of strength shows up in his anchor, and he struggles to get off blocks. His get off and hands are so quick that if he's the first one off the ball, he can get into the backfield and blow up a play. As an athlete, he's fantastic, but I wonder how much his small arms and his small frame will hold him back at the next level. Kamara was a joy to watch, not just because I love the Indiana defense and CJ West was one of my guys last year, but Kamara himself is an absolute joy to watch. I hope he measures well enough at the combine that he can stay as a top 50 pick consideration, because he has all the talent to be a top 50 pick. If he can't improve his run defense, he'll probably just be a designated pass rusher at the next level, but we've seen guys like Chop Robinson, who are kind of projected in that role, go in the first round, so I don't see why Mikael Kamara couldn't do the same, or pretty early. My number 7 guy will be by far the shortest breakdown, because it's David Bailey out of Stanford. Bailey was a rotational player for Stanford this year, which helped his grades on PFF and his rate stats like pass rush win percentage and pressure percentage. He's an elite pass rusher who explodes off the ball and has elite top class bend. His pass rush plan is pretty bare bones right now. explode off the ball and either bend around the edge or an inside counter. But that's also fine because that's essentially all that he needs. As a run defender, he was barely used, and when he was, he just didn't look good. Almost every year there's a player like this who's just a freak speed rusher, and that's it. A master of one trade, but not good at anything else. Fortunately, the floor for that archetype is a great number 3 edge rusher for a team, and unless Bailey can develop his run defense to be playable on first and second downs, that's probably what he'll be drafted as. Although it is important to note that he was a decent coverage player, so he may carve out a role as a hybrid linebacker edge player. That concludes my top 7, but if you're wondering where Danny Denise Sutton and Mateo Uigalele, if that's how you say his name, are, I'm just lower on them. Denise Sutton is the type of guy that if you squint, you can see him as a first round player and you really see the potential. He's a solid run defender, but I don't see him as a great pass rusher, and now that he doesn't have Abdul Carter next to him, he'll be getting more attention. He did bust out a nasty spin move versus Maryland that intrigued me, so I will be keeping a close eye on him this season, because if I squint, I do see the skeleton of a first round pick. Uigalele is not someone that I really see in that same light. He would try a ton of pass rush moves, but he never really got anywhere with them. He's not a great athlete or a great run defender either, so he's kind of just meh at everything. He's the type of guy that just goes early day 3, and I really don't see him being a massive contributor at the next level. That's going to wrap up my top edge rushers for next year's edge class. If you enjoyed this video, check out my top 5 tackles for next year's class, where I broke down the top 6 tackles and then even a little bit more like I did in this video. If you did enjoy it, like and stick around, because I will be releasing my wide receiver video next very soon, and then probably my quarterback video after. Thank you guys all for watching.